think we're live right now. Excellent. Hello, everybody. This is Titus with Glow Growth and Development. We have Mr. Aaron here from Ahia. Him and I were having a brief conversation about where he is from, and my mom being from Nurk, Ahia, and he knew exactly where I was talking about. So welcome, Aaron.
Thank you. Very happy to be here, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your program.
Yes, excellent. So I was reading through your bio. You've started a couple companies. You're into the coaching biz like a lot of my guests. And so yeah, tell us a little bit about where you're from, kind of what made the shift for you, where you're at today, and what you're looking to make an impact or looking to do in the world.
Sure, I appreciate that. So I actually started my primary business 20 years ago, and it's an executive recruiting company, and started that from scratch out of my apartment. And 20 years later, we're one of the best places to work in Ohio. And we're also recognized nationally by Forbes magazine as one of the top firms in the country. I've got 20 employees. We work exclusively in the healthcare niche. But in 2020, I wanted to figure out what else I can do with giving back and helping other people to learn from my experiences. So I became a certified coach. And so that's really a side business to my primary business, but I use it as a way to help other entrepreneurs or leaders in organizations or community who are just trying to get to that next level and are trying to understand what's holding them back from getting there. So really coming from a place of giving back to help people is why I started that other business, while my primary business is still operating and going very well.
So who did you get certified with?
Jay Shetty.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
Okay.
But so what are some of his premises or his foundations or pillars?
Yeah, it's all about making wisdom go viral. And so what's great about this is I worked with people literally across the entire world, and it really helped my perspective going through the program together, doing calls with other coaches in the program. And you realize how flat the world is and how much we have in common. And regardless of where people live, regardless of religious belief, we still all have the same thing in common. We want to be loved and we want to love other people. And going through that course really reminded me of that, and to realize how much we have in common with each other. Our differences are actually very small. We have way more in common than we have differences.
You know, I was in a conversation earlier at a networking meeting, and we were talking about diversity and how you can choose to focus on the diversity or the things that are different and take it to a negative energy or environment. But really, like you said, we all are human. We have our basic needs. And if you really get down to it, our differences aren't really that big of a deal.
Right. Everybody wants family. Everybody wants relationships. Everybody wants to feel a part of something. So we have that in common. There isn't people that don't want to be loved or love anybody or be by themselves their entire life. We need to focus on what we have in common. It's a very fundamental belief that I feel like society, politically, internationally, we've gotten away from that. And I'd like to see us get back to that.
So what put you or got you or moved you into the coaching world?
So I've had my business for 20 years, and I continue to grow, and the business has grown, which is great. And I've always wanted a business that could operate without me, and it really can. And so it's like, where do I want to spend my time? And my coaching business, I envision it being a half day, at most a full day a week, that I would spend on the coaching business as a way to help other people. Like, it took me 20 years of starting something from scratch to get where I am today. What can I do to help you shorten that time from 20 years to maybe 10 or to 5? I mean, there's a lot of mistakes I learned along the way, and I want to help people deal with that. And I'm fortunate to have 4 daughters. And so if I have my preference is to work with women, because I'm a huge women's advocate. I've made a lot of business decisions to include women, to change my policies, being a small business. And I just want to help equal that playing field between men and women to come to the table for pay, for decisions, and be involved in those. So I really have a passion for that as well.
For myself, I work well with females, and integrity is a huge part of that. How, maintaining that integrity when it's for a man, there's a lot of men that make poor choices, but maintaining that integrity for myself is a huge key. because if you break that integrity with one, it definitely will, they'll make it known amongst the group for sure.
Right. A lot of the time I think to myself, I do it with my business all the time, is would I want my daughter to work for my business? Why would I, or why wouldn't I? And as I think about decisions I make personally and professionally, I think of my kids all the time. What would my daughter think if I made this decision right now? And really trying to keep that to model the way of what I want them to see. And as a father, as an adult, you're modeling the way for what your children are going to see. And the spouse, or if they choose to get married, the type of person they're going after. So I really think about that a lot. Am I modeling the way of somebody I want my kids to see and to follow?
So for Glow Growth and Development, there's two sides. I took a See Me assessment, and my colors were adaptive red and natural yellow. And my adaptive red is 20 plus years of sales, marketing, business development. And the yellow is the, the purpose, the passion, the heart, and the flow. And it sounds quite similar to what you have there is, a lot of business years of experience, so on and so forth. And now moving into the coaching world to give back. It's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I feel like it's gone full cycle. And the stuff that I can give back to people now, man, I wish I was turned on to this stuff earlier in my life, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and been exposed to this stuff, because I think it's a game changer. It's how you make your decisions and how you live your life. And you've run into people through coaching that are just frustrated when they get to their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and said, man, was I on the wrong path this whole time? What could I have done to get on a different path earlier in life? I think being exposed to the concepts and ideas of, well, how do I question that? How do I question my belief system? Well, our belief system was given to us by our parents, our siblings, our coaches, teachers. Everybody impacted you when you were formulating your own ideas, but they weren't really your ideas. They were what was given to you. And we're raised just to accept that, and that it is what it is, right? You don't question it. Well, as you get older, you start questioning it, but do you question that in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, or 50s? And unfortunately, a lot of people go through life frustrated or suffer from anxiety because they're in conflict with what they were taught versus actually how they feel about things. And I feel bad for those individuals, which again was another motivation to become a coach and help.
Yes, and so I want to say thank you. That's what one of my goals is here with Glow, is to put the material, the content out there for people to see, so they can say, hey, and start questioning where they're at, or start looking or seeking, and and to help them. So I appreciate you working with Glow and spreading that message out there. For myself, it was a challenging time in my life that got me to seeking and looking and to question. And so I'm glad for myself. I'm pushing 50. I'm 49 now. And I'm thankful that it happened as opposed to never happening.
Right. And what you learn from that is what you can teach other people. And I think that's the gift you're given, is to give back and let people learn from your experience. And to admit our vulnerabilities, to be open, to be willing to share our stories. That's the game changer. That's our way to give back to people. And you may not be paid back monetarily, but there's so many other ways you can be paid back from helping other individuals. And it's really a ripple effect that affects your immediate circle, but also affects so many other people. So kudos to you for taking that step and doing it.
Okay, so we're going to do a complete 180, 90 degree, whatever degree you want to talk about or switch on. And we're going to put the business hat on you, Mr. Aaron, and we're going to talk some business.
Let's do it.
A lot of my audience are entrepreneurs, small business owners. What would you say, just start sharing some wisdom with them, because they're out there, they're growing their business. Maybe some of them are 3, 5 years old. Some of them might only be a year into the business. So what's some of the things that you do, like your morning ritual, right? You have a morning routine. What are some of the exercises that you do to keep you focused and on path?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll share with you 3 ideas. The first thing I do every morning when I wake up is I go meditate for 20 minutes. I do not look at my phone. I purposely do not look at my phone until I come into the office. So by that time, I'll be up for about 2.5 hours. because I want to be with my own thoughts, my own ideas. I want to have original thoughts. It pains me when I see people get up, the first thing they do is turn on their phone, and then they're on their phone all day. It's like, what was your original thought versus what you read on the news or Facebook or something like that? So it's really important to me to be by myself, clear my mind, and focus on what I need to focus on. So I meditate, and then I immediately work out for a half hour, 45 minutes every morning. Between those two things, I feel like I'm ready to go. And that's something I started just in the last 12 months. And it's something I religiously do every day. And that's been a game changer for me and something I really value and appreciate. Another thing I would say as an entrepreneur, a key to success is we have to check our ego at the door. And just because you own a business does not mean you know everything. That does not mean you're the best at IT, the best at accounting, the best at marketing, the best at operations, the best at HR. But we think because now I'm the president, I'm the CEO, I'm the founder, I got to have it all figured out. Well, that's your ego talking. And the sooner you can put your ego aside and say, I'm going to bring in strategic partners, people who I can talk to, we can share best practices with, we can bounce ideas off of each other without, maybe we're not paying each other. Maybe I'll help you with your IT if you help me with my accounting. Perfect. That's a great match. But bring in other people. Your company will exponentially grow the more people you have supporting your mission and your growth. The third thing I will say is I'm a huge believer in culture. And for me, it starts with our hiring and interview process. And my company is only as good as the people I have here. And so it's mission critical. I don't care if you're hiring forklift drivers, ditch diggers, salespeople, doesn't matter. It's the culture. I've got to have people aligned with my belief system that are trying to build this company. And I do that by first investing in them, understanding their goals, their dreams, what they want to accomplish personally and professionally. Yes, personally and professionally, because those two are absolutely interrelated. You got to focus on both of those. And when I take an investment in their personal goals and their professional goals, guess what? They're willing to invest in my professional goals for what I have for my company. And I've really stuck with that for 20 years. It's part of my hiring process. We talk about culture all the time. And it's gotten to the point where they run with the culture. So I don't nominate us for any of these awards. The employees do because they're part of the culture, the environment we do. And I do other things. For example, I'll write letters to their spouses, let them know what a great job their employee's doing, because every job's going to be up and down, right? And there's going to be times you think, this is a bad day, this is a bad week, this is a bad month, I need to think about leaving maybe. Isn't it nice to have somebody who's at home telling them, you know what, I don't know if you should, this company really cares about you. They do A, B, and C for you. They include me in A, B, and C. Those little types of things are just organic growth of organic momentum that can really propel your organization. That was a long-winded answer, but those are 3 points I wanted to hit on.
Yeah, no, that was a great answer, and long-winded or not, it's ideal. And for myself, one of the best things that I did was to hire an assistant, a VA, and have her helping me do some stuff. And yeah, and that idea that you put out there is to actually mail a letter to the spouse. Wow, that goes straight to the heart, man. That's straight to the heart and home. Wow, so that's awesome. Congrats to you.
Thank you. We take a lot of pride in that. One of the things I do with my company is we have contests and things like that. We have no individual contests. We win or lose as a team. And so anytime we have a contest for time off or to get out early, it's either everybody gets out or nobody gets out. We also have a goal every year, but then we have a stretch goal that if we hit that, I take everybody and a guest on an all-inclusive vacation to the Caribbean. And people are like, that's nuts. Why would you do it? And to which I would say, well, there's a dollar amount where it makes sense where you would do it. Just figure out what that dollar amount is. And so, let's say you need to do another $100,000 in sales to justify it. Okay, we'll throw it out there because it's a great goal for these guys to focus on. And guess what? They have a cheerleader at home who's saying, hey, can you go make a couple extra calls today? Could you close one more deal so we can go on that all-inclusive trip in February when the weather stinks in Ohio? So, again, it's all about what are we doing together to build this team and to build this culture. And it's a very simple thing. And people are just blown away. You take people's guests on a trip? Yes, we do. Because it makes sense financially for us to do it. We wouldn't do it otherwise. We wouldn't take a trip to lose money. We do it. And the long-term payouts are unbelievable.
It's an investment. I mean, even if you were to break even, in my mind, to break even, but it be an investment into your employees, what an investment, and so, yeah, that's awesome. So on your biography, let me pull this up here. You said recruiting, interviewing, hiring, retaining employees. Well, it sounds like you got the retaining employees down with the trip to the Bahamas. Best place to work, environment, balancing family and building a business. You know, in a previous role that I was in, I would always make sure that the home life was good for my employees, for my workers, because if they are not good at home, they're not going to be good at the workplace. And I strove to make sure that they were good there, that things were healthy, because you want a good employee, make sure things are good at home.
Yeah, and I think it was a little bit easier when everybody was coming to the office. I think moving forward, that's not going to be the case. There's going to be a portion of the work population that has the option to work from home or may be able to work home completely. So I think it's going to add some complexity to it on how we as managers interact with those individuals. Everything on Zoom calls, or are they team Zoom, one-on-one Zoom? And we don't know, in the office, I can kind of control the environment and the events in the course of the day. I can't do that when you're at home, whether it's your significant other, a child, a pet, or the mailman or UPS. There's a lot of factors that can impact your day and your emotional up and down, which is a new challenge that we're going to have to work through. And we'll figure out a way to do it. And I don't know how, but we'll figure it out.
So, what are some of the ways that you have implemented so far, if you have at all? But what are some of the ways that you've done to check in with your employees, or to touch base with them, or to, make that connection while they're not in the office?
Yeah, great question. So about 2 years ago, we put in a program where people could work from home 1 day a month. Then we went to 2 days a month, and then we're at 1 day a week because we were seeing our numbers were working out just fine, regardless if they're here or not. So when COVID happened, it actually didn't impact us because we had the systems built in place. Most people, now we still have some people that want to come in every day, and I still have people here now. But at this stage, we're telling it's up to the employee. If you want to come to work, you can. You want to work from home, you can. It's up to you. As a manager, what I do is the people that report directly to me, I talk to them each day. So I get with them and say, okay, what's going on with your desk? What's your plan for the day? Where do you need help? Because I see my job as a manager, the president, is to remove obstacles. What obstacles are preventing you from optimal performance? I need to know what those are. Do we need to buy more technology? Do we need to buy a license for something? What can we do to increase your performance? That's what I'm about. So I do connect with everybody that reports to me on a daily basis.
I am so proud of you, man. You are, gosh, you're quite the example for the entrepreneur, for the business person. And I'm sure, year 1, 2, 5, 10, who knows? I don't know. But I'm sure you definitely were in the grind those years, because I can see, I mean, right now, for you to be touching base with your people on the daily, daily, I give you huge amounts of kudos for what you've done over the last 20 years.
Thank you. That's something I've done since day one, because things change by the hour, things change by the day. So it's got to be a lot of touch points. But you're right. It was a grind to get this point. When I started my business, I went 6 months without a paycheck. After my first year in the business, 9/11 happened. So business just completely stopped. But everybody still needs to be paid. So yeah, there's been some ups and downs. And our business works in the healthcare industry. When the Affordable Care Act was coming out, all of our clients just stopped working because they weren't sure the implications of the Affordable Care Act. And so again, we went about 6 months with nothing happening, but then it just blew up, and our business has been up and down. But we've had, fortunately, way more ups than downs, and I feel very fortunate to be where I am.
Yes, well, good job for you, man. Good job.
Thank
So,
you.
okay, let's go back to the mindset. And do you talk with your employees about mindset? Do you talk to your employees about health? Do you have those conversations that dive a little deeper than just the desk?
Absolutely. I think we can all relate, for anybody who's in a serious relationship or been in a serious relationship, where you're kind of just going along and you feel like something's off, and you just like, we need a trip, or we need a date night or something like that. You just kind of reconnect. Well, one of the things that I did when I started the business was I have every other week a one-on-one meeting with the people that report to me. And so like tomorrow I've got one at 3:30 and one at the following day at 4 o'clock, where we just sit down and talk. And sometimes we'll have agenda of topics, but it's kind of a way for us both to get off the hamster wheel to make sure that we're on the same page. We're out of the grind of the day to day, and we're just taking a step back, looking at the big picture and say, how are we doing? Where are you struggling? Where are you doing well? What can I do to help you and support you? You know, at that time, I may take out their goals for the year and say, hey, you said you're going to take a trip to X, Y, and Z in August. What have you done to start booking that? You know, have you taken those steps? Have you started researching that, lining up the babysitter, doing those types of things? So I say it's a date night, it's not because it's in the office, but it's just to kind of reconnect and kind of solidify that relationship, because most people quit their boss, right? They don't quit the company, or they don't leave because of more pay, although some people do, but most people quit because their boss. They feel like that person doesn't believe in them, support them, help them. So what can I consciously do to continually try to keep that bond as tight as possible? No, and it's going to be good and bad, but I want to make sure I'm doing my part. So that'd be something that I do on a regular basis to try to keep that engagement.
Yeah, several years ago, I went to my boss and I asked him for a Friday off because I wanted to go to a marriage retreat, and it was on a Friday, but that Friday was the last Friday of the month, and it was a sales position. And he's like, "What are you talking about? It's the last Friday of the month, and we've got sales numbers to hit." And he declined my day off on my vacation. Yeah. And so within 45 days, I was gone, and but it was a huge lesson. For me, it was the boundaries that I was creating, and in my head saying that no man is going to control me like that.
That's a great example. And here you are all these years later sharing that exact story that had that big of an impact on you. And here's another tip for a small business owner. Whether you close that sale on the 30th or the 1st, it doesn't matter. And don't put pressure on people just to close it on one day or another. Yeah, you're trying to hit your numbers, but when I started my business, because my previous boss did the same thing. If it's not done these 30 days, it didn't happen. You're a rock star on the 31st. On the first day, you were the worst guy in the office. That's not a way to run a business, in my opinion. I look at numbers on a quarterly basis, and we look over the course of the year, because you're going to have ups and downs, and that's okay. But I don't want to put sales for my company in front of what's best for my customers. And I think some companies do that, so worried about the numbers versus, hey, what's best for our customers? Our customers, it's best for this to get done the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Well, our internal numbers, we want it today. Does that really matter? To me, it doesn't. To me, it's more of a big picture mindset than what I have to do today, right here, right now.
Yeah, not only what's best for the customers, but what's best for the employees as well.
Right. I'm putting pressure on you you don't need. Of course you want to get the sale done today. I know you do, right? So it's just not a good recipe.
Yeah. So why don't you give everybody, the audience, your contact information for the coaching side, or whatever, however you want people to reach out to you. How can people connect?
Yeah. aw@purposeandwisdom.com. I'm also on Instagram, although I don't post a lot, and I'm very active on LinkedIn. I have a big following there, and I have a big group on there. But if you want to contact me directly, aw@purposeandwisdom.com.
Love it. Those words, purpose is such a key thing. I was talking to somebody recently, and they're like, so, what's life like when you discover that? Well, and the word that I came up with for myself was a relief. Because for 20 some odd years, I was on that hamster wheel looking for, okay, where's my purpose? Where's my passion? Where am I supposed to align this? And when I did finally discover my heart and my purpose, then it was like, okay, now let's go.
Wow. That gives me chills just hearing that. That's unbelievable. Good for you. That's fantastic.
Well, Mr. Aaron, I so appreciate your time. I appreciate the wisdom that you shared here. And I encourage everybody to look him up. Flood his email with questions. No, I'm just teasing. But Aaron, you have a great attitude. I appreciate you, and major awards for you, bro, for all that you've done in Ohio and around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. You have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.